not, we have 30 countries here, and at least 3 of them agree with each other, which is very unusual. First of all, I'd like to welcome Julius Meinl, the newly elected president of the Euro-Asian Jewish Congress. I think if he knew what he was getting into, he definitely would not have done it. And we're delighted you're there. And the answer is, it's the old Romanian thing where you have 2 women in front of a judge, and they're both talking opposite things. The first woman speaks, and the judge says, "You're right." The second woman speaks, and the judge says, "You're right." And the first woman says, "We both can't be right." He says, "You're right." That's good. David Krzyzewski. David? Okay. From Canada. And Catherine Gentilini from Switzerland. Welcome. This is their first World Jewish Congress meeting. I'd like to thank all those who have traveled from far away. Robert Gooch from Australia, Larry Clark and Robert Smith from South Africa. Julia Schlosser and Sebastian Azarai from Argentina, and Marcus Berkel from Colombia. Welcome. We're here in Paris mainly because we were supposed to be in Kiev, and for reasons you all know, it was not the ideal timing to be there, although it would have been very interesting to be there. But we're here in France, and we've all been hearing about certain anti-Semitic incidents, and they're increasing. The Dieudonné affair, and also the Cornell, and the Front National, and the municipal election results, which we're hearing Jacques Attali is looking at as he speaks now. By the time he speaks, he'll be able to tell us all the results. And as I mentioned before, the problems in Ukraine as relates to Russia and as relates to anti-Semitism is something that we'll be discussing tomorrow. When we discuss it, I will not be there. And also, we all agree that in all cases between Russia and Ukraine, we turn it over to Robert Sinker. That's why he gets the huge salary. And the Iranian question with President Rouhani and the so-called charm offensive is something we have to talk about tomorrow. And lastly, we're all talking about what's happening with Israel and the whole question of what's happening in the world with Israel. There is no person, I think, better than Jacques Attali to answer at least some of these questions. I'm looking back at my memory. It was 1960, 59 to 60. My parents came to France to open up Estée Lauder Cosmetics. And we decided to go with a perfumery. Frankly, we looked at several perfumeries, what they did, and we picked Parfumerie Attali because of reputation and Jacques' family. I happened to be there with that time, and my parents and his parents had a discussion, not about cosmetics, but about how smart their sons were. It was a very interesting conversation, and they both agreed that their sons were extremely important and being extremely smart. At least 50% were right. I then heard about Jacques Attali when President François Mitterrand was elected, and everything he did, a lot of things, were under the advice of Jacques Attali. He was the éminence of Mitterrand and did fantastic things. He also wrote a book, first book, that I read in French, could not understand it, and then read it in English, and could not understand it. I had to have somebody explain it to me. It was very hard, but it was an excellent book. Now looking back, many of the things he said were right. Not right of center, but right. It was, since then he's written 45 or 50 other books. 60 books, as I said. My information went back 3 weeks ago. But he then founded the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which basically opened up all of Eastern Europe to financing. I, at that time, was starting my TV stations there, and because of his bank, people had money to buy different types of advertisement with us, and it helped very much the entire Eastern European economy.
Eastern European Jewry,
it helped Eastern European Jewry. That was not the specific reason for the bank. Thank you, John. But it did help. I must tell you, Central Europe would never have had the growth it did was not for Jacques Attali. I've asked him to speak about two subjects. One of them is about anti-Semitism here in France, and as relates, but also much more of a worldview also. Not only about Jewish things, but about the world and as he sees it, because he is somebody who sees the world in a very special way. And there are people who have vision, there are people who are smart, and there are people who are pragmatists. He's all three. And I'm glad to see now